Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. This is episode number 57.
Seven, yeah.
57. And this week I'm joined by Ethan Barlow. We've got a little bit of an announcement to make. Our fellow co host, Laurie Finlayson, is sort of moving into more of a producer's role due to some scheduling issues. So you'll see us on more often. Maybe we'll get guests on more often as well, so it's just not us rambling the whole time. So because I'm sure you're fed up with us by this point. But yeah, that's kind of the announcement we have today. In this episode, we are talking about all the action of the weekend, a little bit of talking about the English Premier League as well, a little prediction in there also, just to sort of spice it up a little bit. But we have 8 games to talk about um, over the weekend in the Premier Sports Cup. First of all, Ethan, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. The football is still entertaining. I think this weekend a wee bit less so you could say maybe in the Premier Sports Cup, but no, it was still a good weekend of football, and I'm really looking forward to. Obviously, we've got Europe tonight starting, some big games for the four teams in Europe, and then back to league action for most of the teams at the weekend. So yeah, really exciting, and I'm just glad we've got football back, because I think me, like most people, can't handle it going without it for too long.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And if you haven't seen it already, go check out our European sort of review slash overview. It went out yesterday. We're recording both things today on Tuesday. This is going up Wednesday. The European episode, by the time you see this, will have already been out. So make sure to go and check that out. So, starting with Celtic versus Falkirk, a fairly comfortable victory for Celtic. They looked comfortable the entire game. Obviously, Falkirk get their goal, which was a nice goal, but it was fairly routine for the champions.
Yeah, the same margin of victory as they obviously got over Falkirk last season in the Premier Sports Cup, a season around before this time out. But it wasn't the same game. Celtic were comfortable pretty much from minute 1 to 90, and they looked a better team, and they looked to be. Although Brendan Rodgers made 6 changes to the starting 11, which you would expect before obviously the Champions League game against Kairat Almaty on Wednesday. They are looking better by every game, and that would be a positive thing, for Celtic fans to pick up on, because obviously still no transfers and recruitment signed, although there's been a few rumours, which I'm sure we'll get onto. But yeah, Celtic look good. The players who come in, Viljami Sinisalo come in for Kasper Schmeichel, and I think he might be the cup goalkeeper, because obviously the Dane is possibly retiring at the end of the season, or certainly leaving Celtic at the end of his deal unless he signs a new contract. Austin Trusty came in, standard. Dane Murray came in after he signed an extension until 2028, and he obviously got a goal as well.
Great day for
Uh,
Murray.
yeah, brilliant day for him to sign and then get the goal. And he looked really good as well, because obviously Jemai Simpson Pusey you would expect to be the backup to Cameron Carter Vickers, but Dane Murray's there, and he'll get to compare himself to a young player who's came through the ranks of one of the top academies in the world. So I think that'll only be a positive experience for Dane Murray. Arnie Engels and Luke McCowan came into midfield. Engels especially stood out, and maybe Brendan Rodgers would expect a reaction from the club's record signing after being obviously kept out. Then up front, Johnny Kenny came in to start. He obviously signed a contract extension during the week as well. He didn't really grab the opportunity with two hands though, and neither did Shin Yamada, who also came off the bench. Adam Ida was completely rested, but you would still imagine him to start on Wednesday night. But yeah, but as you said, Celtic dominated, and they played pretty well. The goals were nice. Maeda opened the score, and Tierney with another assist. Then Alistair Johnston, bit of a strange goal for a right back. It was a really good finish actually with his left foot across the keeper. And then Arnie Engels puts in a good corner for Dane Murray's goal. And then right after that, Yang, who had just come off the bench, sort of was direct and beat his man, then crossed, and I think it hit off Liam Henderson, went in 4-0, and then Falkirk do get that consolation. Keelan Adams, who has been involved in quite a lot of Falkirk's positive things so far this season. I think he's one to watch out for it right back. And yeah, he's someone that I've liked from what I've seen from Falkirk so far. But yeah, all positive for Celtic, certainly on the pitch. Off the pitch is maybe another issue, but yeah, a good result to go into that big game against Kairat on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to, we'll go from Parkhead to Capello, where Aberdeen got their first victory of the season, beating Greenock Morton 3-0. Another fairly standard victory. This one, some nice goals in there, especially from Leighton Clarkson. Cassini Yengi finally getting off the mark, and this would be a good time to do it, as he will now face some stiff competition with Marko Lazetic in the door to compete for that striker spot. Aberdeen fans will, and the squad in general, will just be happy to get a win under their belt, and hopefully it can kickstart their season.
Yeah, definitely. Two teams coming into the game that neither of them had got any wins in their respective leagues. Two draws for Greenock Morton, two defeats, obviously, and pretty disappointing ones at that for Aberdeen. And the start that I seen on the highlights when I watched what the commentator said right at the start of the game was that Aberdeen have just 5 wins in the last 27 matches, which is really poor for a club like Aberdeen. You want to think that they're going to be pushing for third spot this season, and based off that stat, you wouldn't have much confidence of that. But yeah, a massive win because it was a potential banana skin going to Capello, and yeah, they handled it really professionally. Nelson gets his first goal for Aberdeen, a nice header from Alcic corner. Then Milanovic sort of followed in for Shaden Morris's strike and put it on a plate for Cassini Yengi, as you said. He's one that's actually looked pretty good, Nicholas Milanovic, the Australian winger. And then, yeah, a really nice goal from Leighton Clarkson, set up by Toby Keskinen. And yeah, just a really good win for Aberdeen, because I'm sure some of their fans were maybe going to Greenock a little bit nervous because of how they've played and how they've started the season. But a massive win, and Jimmy Tillane will be hoping that can kickstart their league form now. And they've brought in some new signings, as you said, Lazetic, and they also spent £500,000 on Kenan Bilalovic, the 20-year-old Sweden under 21 international from IFK Varnamo. So yeah, they've recruited pretty well this window. You just hope that they can put it together in the league.
I missed that one. I've noticed some transfers have been slipping through the cracks for me on these daily sort of news deliveries, but luckily Ethan's on top of it on the Twitter, even when I'm not.
I do try my best, although a few slip through my fingers. It's only natural when you're looking at 12 clubs, but I'm sure we'll get a transfer video right at the end of the window, and we'll sort of look over everything that's happened. But yeah, I think we have covered most of it at least.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, I think we'll go to St Mirren Park first, where St Mirren took on Hearts of one each draw. St Mirren winning on penalties, and based off the highlights, looked like St Mirren were the better team. Killian Phillips with a few good efforts. Obviously, Alex Gogic opened the scoring with a really nice goal. Pops up with that now and again, Alex Gogic. So nice moment for him, and nice moment for Ryan Niven, who will of course a week tomorrow will have Alex Gogic on his leg because he lost a bet. So that'll be quite good to see. And then Ocean McKinty with the equaliser, getting his first Hearts goal. Hearts look quite strong from set pieces this season. A number of their goals coming from that. Obviously, Stuart Findlay has a few from there, and then now McKenty getting involved with that one. Stuart Findlay had a couple of opportunities from set pieces as well that were just wide or just over. So that's one of their strong points this season. But I think in terms of overall plays, St Mirren were better. And then in the penalty shootout, Claudio Braga coming up short, Shamal George with a nice save. And Malik Dykesdale puts it away to secure a quarter-final spot for the Buddies.
Yeah, exactly. A really good week for St Mirren, because I think this was the highlight tie of the round, the tough one to call. St Mirren Park is never an easy place to go, even for Hearts who have started the season really well, undefeated. And yeah, on top of that, obviously St Mirren extends Stephen Robinson's contract until 2028, which I think is a brilliant bit of business for them as a club, and they'll be looking to make that top six again. As you said, a really good goal by Alex Gogic. And then, yeah, on the set pieces, I looked into that just over the last three games, actually, for Hearts, when McKenty got that header, and five of their six goals from the first two league games, and obviously the game at the weekend in the Cup, have been from set pieces. And yeah, it's going to be an area, I think, that they're an area of expertise and something to watch out for. Free kicks, penalties, corners, they've all scored from in those three games. And I don't know why, but on that, Jack Milne wasn't credited with the assist. It's not Jack Milne, it's Harry Milne, isn't it? That plays for
Jack
uh,
Milne was Aberdeen, I think.
Aberdeen. Jack Milne's Aberdeen, yeah. Harry Milne, sorry. Didn't get credited with the assist, but if he did, that's five and six games for him now. So yeah, he started the season really well, I think. But yeah, the Claudio Braga chant coming back to hurt the Hearts fans a little bit, with that penalty being saved brilliantly by Shamal George. But yeah, disappointing for Hearts, because I obviously predicted them to win the League Cup, but can't get everything right, I guess. So yeah, but a massive win for St Mirren, and they'll take confidence into the next round.
Definitely, definitely. Moving on to the next game on Saturday, Partick Thistle hosting Ayr United. And in this game, Dan O'Reilly got the opening goal. Tony Watt, obviously, with the second. But Ethan, it could have been more. Partick Thistle were absolutely all over Ayr.
Yeah, definitely, and they had a disallowed goal in the first half as well. So yeah, really worrying for Ayr United. I think along with Partick Thistle, they would have had aspirations of promotion this season. I know St Johnstone and Ross County have obviously dropped down. St Johnstone seemed to have pretty early on established themselves as title favourites. But yeah, a big game for both of these teams, because they didn't start the season too well. Partick Thistle thrashed by St Johnstone on opening day. Ayr United 1 point from possible six. So yeah, it was massive that both of these teams, for both of the managers, obviously former Celtic teammates Mark Wilson and Scott Brown. But yeah, Partick Thistle were the better team by quite a distance, and a massive win for Mark Wilson and the Jags. And the talisman Tony Watt off the mark, and well, not off the mark, but was that his first goal for Partick Thistle? It might have been. But yeah, a bit of a strange goal anyway. Have you seen it?
That's
Let
just
me see.
clicked. That's just clicked for me. Mark Wilson's just signed his mate. That has
Yeah,
that's just clicked for me there.
yeah, it was his first goal for Partick Thistle. So yeah, Tony Watt, I think he can be a useful player for Partick Thistle, but yeah, if he can stay fit, then maybe he can lead them to
Not been a
a
useful
promotion
player
push.
for a good few years.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a story of what could have been with Tony Watt.
A,
Unfortunately.
a wee pun in there as well. Jeez,
Oh no, there wasn't that.
Tony Watt could have
Yeah,
been.
I'm not even going to claim that. But yeah, a massive win for Mark Wilson, and a really terrible start to the season for Scott Brown.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to the final Saturday fixture, Rangers hosting Alloa. This one was definitely I'd probably say the most interesting game of the weekend. A wee scare in there for me personally. Rangers go 1-0 in front with a nice finish from Nadeem Bayrami. Alawa equalise after a comedy act at the back, then bouncing off of Joe Rothwell's head and into the net for one each. Rangers go back in front through Emmanuel Fernandez with a debut goal for him. I think we mentioned when we were speaking about him that for a centre back, he's got not a bad goal scoring record. He's already displaying that. So hopefully he can build on that. Then Rangers go 3-1 in front with a penalty from James Tavernier. But you think game's done and dusted. You think that's a Rangers had their wee scare. Then Alloa come back. Taggart with the goal to make it 3-2. And you're thinking, oh God, are they? And they had a few opportunities. And you think, oh, are they going to do it here? But they don't. Rangers fortunately get the win. Findlay Curtis coming off the bench and making it 4-2 to sort of solidify the victory, progress to the quarterfinals. Ethan, but Alloa really gave Rangers a game.
Yeah, you would think that the record winners of the competition going up against the lowest ranked team left in the competition would sort of be a foregone conclusion. But I think even going into the game, Rangers fans would have been a little bit nervous about it. Probably even after they seen the starting lineup, because obviously I think 10 changes Russell Martin made, so it's a lot of changes, and obviously it makes sense. You're playing against a League One opposition, and you've got a big, massive tie tonight as we're recording this against Club Brugge, so makes sense. Rangers had created a lot. So defending for the two goals though is really poor. I mean, the one that the thing that I'm really questioning is, I don't know if maybe I'm just looking into this but too much, but I think Bailey Rice has got to do a lot better before the ball even reaches the box. I don't think he really it looks like he doesn't really sprint after the ball. He looks like he's not really putting 100% into. That's what I'm not trying to. Yeah, and he just lets Stephen Buchanan, I think it was the winger for Alloa, that kind of just ghosted past him, really poor, and then it's a shambles in the box after that. But the other thing that I picked up on was, I thought, I can understand why the penalty's been given, but I think it's possibly a bit harsh.
Maybe. I think it is a wee
What,
bit.
right?
I think it is
The thing,
harsh, but it's a penalty.
the thing I'm like that is the deciding factor for me is, if the ball's going towards the goal, then penalty every day of the week, because he stops the goal with his hand. But I tried to watch it from multiple angles, multiple times, and I don't know if the ball is going towards the goal, because his hand's kind of behind or like level with Cortez. So I don't know. I just thought that was a little bit harsh on Alloa, but anyway, you can see why it's been given, and James Tavernier steps up and tucks it away really well and off the post, and then Taggart obviously gets that goal to put the scare back for Ibrox, and then Finlay Curtis with a really nice finish to finish it off and send Rangers through, and that's all that matters at this point in the season, because the performances haven't been there yet on the most part for Rangers, but Russell Martin really couldn't have a loss at home to Alloa in the cup. That just wouldn't have been acceptable, and he'll be glad that he's got the result that is desired, and he'll be hoping he can carry it into.
If he'd lost Alloa though, he might have told his mum he's not enjoying it. So maybe, so at least him and his mum are they're all right, and she knows her boy's enjoying his time here. But anyway, moving on to we'll go Hibs. Thibaut Clegy with his first goal for Hibernian, nice header. And then Ryan said that there must be something in the water at Easter Road, because another screamer, Josh Mulligan with a fantastic finish, 2-0 to Hibs. Livingston maybe just didn't show enough in terms of attacking play in the game to really impact it. And Hibs go through as deserved winners.
Yeah, and I think this is maybe not clear evidence, but a real sign of the three clubs out with Celtic and Rangers, Hearts, Hibs, and Aberdeen really having that really strong squad compared to the rest of the league. Because I sort of looked at this game, how Livingston have started the season.
So
No, I know that. I know that. But I was meaning that I looked at this game, Hibs off the back of 120 minutes during the week. Um, Livingston obviously fresh from the weekend, how Livingston have started the season. I thought this would be a really difficult game for Hibs, but they handled it well. Cliche obviously got his start and he got his first goal, nice header. And then the other new signing, or one of the new signings, Josh Mulligan, with a great goal, as you said. It's one of those satisfying goals where you see it and you see the goalkeeper fully stretched and he still can't get anywhere near to it. It's just that perfect of a strike in off the
yeah,
post. So
like it would
yeah, a
burst.
really good win for Hibs. What was it?
It's one of the ones that look like they like it almost like time freezes as it nestles in the net. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, and and early bragging rights for Hibs, as you said, because Hearts obviously out of the League Cup early, so and Hibs still in it. But obviously Hearts ahead in the league, so yeah, it's that Edinburgh derby's shaping up to be have a lot on the line already, as they usually do. So yeah, there's a few interesting dynamics shaping up across the Scottish Premiership.
okay, moving on to the final game of the weekend. Kilmarnock versus Dundee United. And we spoke about terrible defending in the Rangers game, especially for this first goal. Where was the Dundee United defence, Ethan, when Marcus Dackers just ran through? It was a good pass from Ben Brannan, nice finish. But what is going on? They should never have been in that much space.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of plaudits for Ben Brandt for the pass, and yeah, you've got to give him credit for picking Dackers out. But really, in that scenario, it should be like a sort of eye of a needle pass, but it really wasn't. And Dackers ran onto it well and finishes well. But as you said, the Dundee United defence absolutely nowhere to be seen. And yeah, I think that's evidence of a team suffering from playing 120 minutes during the night that don't have the squad Hibs do to turn up at a
Yeah,
difficult plastic pitch and get a result.
I think as well this they've done a U-turn because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they might have had the third best defensive record in the league last season. And this season they conceded two against Falkirk. They conceded four against Rapid Vienna over the course of the two legs. They conceded three against Hearts, and they've conceded two against Kilmarnock. So it's it's not been a good defensive start for them. Leaking goals is clearly an issue.
Yeah, let me see. It said it's like they were fifth here, so top half defence in the league last season, pretty much where they near enough where they placed in the league. But yeah, as you said, not started this season like that. And I like a lot of the defenders that they've signed. They look like they'll be able to put in a shift for Dundee United across the season. But yeah, maybe it's just sort of developing those partnerships in the early part of the season because it is a almost new completely no defence and goalkeeper. So yeah, it is really interesting. And I think the
Goalkeeper, by the way, that I've already got a huge issue with.
yeah, you're not a fan. Yeah, I'm. Yeah,
Well, he
he's
was
not. He's the one maybe that I'm.
in the first leg. He was saved by the offside flag with his jelly wrists, and then in the second leg, dived the wrong way for every single penalty.
Yeah,
By the
and
law of averages, you had to guess right once.
yeah, you're right. And yeah, that was poor from Kucherenko. And I think something that I seen a Dundee United fan pick up on is he punches the ball an awful lot. So goalkeepers that punch the ball, or you don't have a lot of confidence in sometimes. But Dundee United obviously see something in them as to why they've signed them. But yeah, a lot of the defenders. Let me see, just to be reminded on their names. I think Yovu's been good in points. He's been a bit shaky in others. Esselink's looked really solid, I think. And so Carestas has been a wee bit mixed. But no, it is interesting. You're going to see players that are success, players that are not a success when you have a squad turnover like that. But one thing for Dundee United that we should probably mention is that Lucas Stevenson, obviously back on loan, which I think is an excellent bit of business that they've been able to get him back because he was playing a lot of pre-season in that Liverpool first 11, really in amongst that squad. So the fact Dundee United have been able to get him and he's not maybe went to the Championship or something is, I think, um, it's a real great bit of business for Dundee United.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, where's my Brad Lyons with the winner,
Yeah,
and Kilmarnock progress to face St Mirren.
I think I've just realised, did we miss the St Johnstone Motherwell game?
Oh my God, we did. Uh, Boring game. Motherwell 1-1, 0-0, 1-0, 1-1-0. Fadinger with the winner there. So
Yeah, but I think it's a big win for Motherwell because St Johnstone have looked really good so far to start the season. Simo ball v Jens ball, I think, is what this was made out to be, or what maybe I made it out to be. But yeah, and it very easily could have been a potential banana skin for Motherwell, but they get the job done in extra time. And obviously, the big talking point which happened over the last week since we last spoke about Motherwell is Lennon Miller completed his transfer to Udinese in the Serie A for nearly £5 million. So great move for him and great fee for the Steelmen as well.
yeah, obviously, yesterday as well, Motherwell announcing a former St Johnstone player in Callum Hendry um, to add to their attacking sort of side of the team, attacking reinforcements. So, yeah, but anyway, that's that. And the quarter final draw is official. It's been made, and the games are Celtic versus Partick Thistle, or at Parkhead, isn't it?
No, it's that for Hill.
Or Hill. Oh, maybe a wee upset there. Rangers versus Hibs at Ibrox. You have Kilmarnock versus St Mirren at Rugby Park, and Aberdeen versus Motherwell. So some interesting games going on there. And I'm gonna make a big shout now. I'm gonna say who I think the four semi finalists are gonna be. I'm gonna go with Motherwell, um, Kilmarnock, Celtic, and Rangers.
I'll go with Motherwell, Kilmarnock, Celtic,
Oh my god.
and Rangers. I'll go the same as you.
Okay, okay. So that's that for the Premier Sports Cup chatter for this weekend. And now we're going to switch it up and talk about the English Premier League for a little bit. So, moving on to the English Premier League, we're going to be having some predictions. And Ethan's going to take the lead on this one because he's got the categories and he's the more intelligent one and the more prepared one. So, Ethan, take it away, mate.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is, as you might see, they do it every year. Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville do their Monday night football season predictions. So we're going to take what they done and give our own takes on it to quickly run through our overall pretty much predictions for the Premier League season. So first of all, Alex, I'll ask. Obviously, we're recording this after the first group of fixtures have been done, but who do you think will be champions of the Premier League season come May?
Um, I think I'm going to stick with what I've been thinking all summer. I think they're going to go back to back. I think there will be some teething issues. We saw that on Friday, but I'm going to stick with Liverpool to win the Premier League. I just think they're too strong.
Yeah, and I would agree. I would agree, despite, as you said, um, finding a little bit of problems against Crystal Palace. Obviously, they lost in the Community Shield, and then did win against Bournemouth, but it wasn't easy. Late goals from Case and Salah. But yeah, I agree. I think Liverpool will go back to back and win the league again. Then, for in order, your second, third, and fourth place to make up the top four.
Okay. Second, I'm going to go with Manchester City. They've recruited really well this summer. They started with a massive thumping of Wolves in Wolverhampton. Noni Madueke's favourite place. Um, and yeah, I'm going to go with Manchester City to go in second. Third, I'm going to go with Arsenal. I think they'll still be there or thereabouts, but I think they'll fall off a little bit this season, and they'll take the third place spot. Unfortunately for the Arsenal fans and the 25-year project they've been having, they'll need to go for another year. And fourth, I wouldn't have said this before the weekend, but I'm gonna go with Manchester United. I think they were unfortunate not to win at the weekend. They probably should have won, and all the new signings looked really good. The style of play looked really good, and for the first time in years, they looked like a competent football team. So I'm gonna go with Manchester United to finish in fourth.
Fair enough. Mine's are slightly, well, quite a lot different actually to yours. And bear in mind, I done these before the first group of games, but what I have in second is the world champions Chelsea. I think
Wow.
I did. Yeah, I think they're growing under Enzo Maresca, and I think they'll have a really good season. Obviously, didn't start well against Crystal Palace, but Crystal Palace have shown that they're a top team and they'll cause problems for those title chasers. So yeah, Chelsea in second, Manchester City in third. As you said, a really good start to the season for them. At Wolves, and then in fourth, I think Arsenal. I just don't know. Seen seen half of their game against Manchester United at the weekend. They didn't look good. Obviously, it's only one game. They still got the result as well. But yeah, I just think Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool will be stronger than Arsenal this season. So I'm going with fourth for Arsenal, and that's my top four. And then moving on to the teams. Well, actually, none of these teams will get Champions League because I think it's only top four that gets Champions League in the Premier League this season, unless I am wrong. And maybe I am wrong. I have been before. So fifth and sixth in the Premier League. Who have you got, Alex?
Uh, oh, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so it's kind of difficult. But I think fifth, I'm going to go for Chelsea. I agree with a lot of your points, but maybe another season under Enzo Maresca. And although fifth on paper looks like a step backwards, I don't think so. I just think the league is really competitive in that kind of space. I think it will be tight, and I think they will finish in fifth. Sixth, I'm going to go with Aston Villa to finish in sixth. I think Newcastle will drop off massively. With obviously with Champions League football, they haven't been able to sign anyone. They've just been getting rejected and beaten to the punch. And their best player is throwing a fit and looks like he could be on his way out this summer to my predicted champions, Liverpool.
Yeah, and my predictions probably quite similar to yours. I've got Man United in fifth. I was impressed with them at the weekend, despite them not getting a positive result. Their new signings look good, so yeah, I think that they'll build something under Ruben Amorim this season. And fifth isn't a bad way to start in his first full season. And then I agree, sixth. Aston Villa, you said for sixth, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Newcastle, they haven't really signed much. Neither have Aston Villa, but I think Aston Villa aren't losing their best player. So, yeah, I think Aston Villa are sixth. And yeah, I think they're quite fair predictions. Now, outside of the top six, who's your sort of surprise team that could contend for those European places?
Um, I'm going to go with Crystal Palace. I think building off the back of their first ever major trophy, they got that nil-nil draw on the opening day, which they had a goal disallowed for absolutely no reason. I don't get that. Right, see that happened to them last season. How can that get disallowed? It doesn't have anything to do with the goal. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
really annoying. But Palace, I think, they won the Community Shield as well, and they look like they're coming to play this season. I think it's crucial though that they hold on to Eberechi Eze. He is, if he leaves, I think it's another like 12th or 10th, or you know what I mean. But
yeah.
I think they definitely have potential this season to challenge for those spots.
Yeah, I do really like Crystal Palace under Oliver Glasner as well, although I think the links Eze has away, the links Mark Gay has away as well would just sort of put me off them slightly. So I've actually got a team who, past they've been in Europe, I really like them. They've got an exciting project. They've signed a lot of players this summer. Got a massive squad. Brighton and Hove Albion under Fabian Hurtzler. Yeah, I think Brighton will have a good season. I know they didn't start the best with a draw against Fulham, not the worst result in the world, but yeah, I think they're on for a really good season, and that's the team I could see sort of surprising the pack and maybe getting into Europe again. So
Well, they might lose a fairly integral player. It looks like Manchester United have their hearts set on Carlos Baleba. So
yes,
that could be an issue for them. Matt O'Reilly looks like might be on his way out the door. Obviously, he didn't feature heavily, but that is also losing a decent player. So maybe not. But I do understand what you're saying. I think that is another interesting, definitely another interesting shout.
yeah, and now for going down to the bottom of the table, your three relegated teams in order, please.
17th.
18th,
Oh yeah, sorry. I always get that mixed up in my head.
yeah.
Because I always do like -3, but obviously 18 is one. Sorry. Um, oh, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Leeds in 18th. I'm gonna go with Wolves in 19th, and I'm gonna go with Burnley in 20th.
So Sunderland to break the streak of
Yeah,
newly promoted teams being relegated.
yeah.
I as I said, I done these before the weekend, but I'm sticking with them despite two of the newly promoted teams winning. I'm going with 18th Leeds, same as you, 19th Sunderland, and 20th Burnley. I'm very confident on Burnley going down, to be honest. Leeds and Sunderland obviously will win their opening games, but I think even if you look at Everton and West Ham, I can see them becoming better across the course of the season. And yeah, I just think it's so difficult for the newly promoted teams now in the Premier League with the financial gap between the Championship and the Premier League. But I'm open to being proven wrong because it's boring seeing the newly promoted teams going straight back down. So hopefully there is a change, but
I
I
think
can't see
I
it,
think Sunderland.
unfortunately.
I think Sunderland will do it, man. They're signing really well. They've been linked with Lois Openda and Artem Dovbik to come in. They've obviously got Granit Xhaka, and as well they've signed some good young players. I just have a feeling about them.
Yeah, I think Sunderland are definitely ones to be that you could make a fair point for. I think Leeds as well, just with how Leeds have been run, obviously under the 49ers consortium. I think they've been run pretty well in the Championship to get them back up. And yeah, so, and then who's a team that you think will just miss out on relegation but will be in that sort of danger zone?
Sunderland.
Right, who's another team then? Who's a team that's been in the league but
West
last season?
West Ham.
Right, West Ham. Yeah. Fair
West.
enough.
They look
Fair
terrible.
enough.
They look absolutely rubbish.
Yeah, I think I said this to someone. I think Graham Potter might be the first manager to go unless he can sort of turn it round there. I've got Brentford. I've got them. Yeah, I think they'll. If I had to back one team to go down that was in the league last season, I would say Brentford. They've lost their manager. They've lost their two best players. So yeah, I've just not got a lot of Well, obviously Johan Wiss hasn't left yet, but it looks like he's going to leave.
Sensational youth coach.
Yeah. What? Where did he go? Who?
Elvis.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. I didn't click there. Like Stephen Presley, yeah, of course. I did forget about that. But no, yeah, him as well. That's a massive loss. That might be the biggest of all of them. So
No.
yeah, I think Brentford will be struggling to be honest.
That's why Thomas Frank left because he heard that Victor McDade was on his way out the door, and he's like, I can't do it anymore.
Oh, right. Next one. Don't think this needs much glossing over. I imagine we have the same answer. Top scorer. Oh, maybe it does.
No, I think if he goes right, I've got a couple of shouts actually. I'm gonna say I think the obvious answer is Haaland, right? Gyökeres looked terrible when he came on Sunday, so maybe not him. I think of two potential Liverpool players. If Isak goes to Liverpool, I think he'll be up there. Hugo Ekitike could be up there. I have a funny feeling Cole Palmer's going to have a really good goal scoring season. Salah's always going to be there. Um, and yeah, so I think I'm going to go with Benjamin Sesko. Just, yeah, I think he's going to have a good season, but I'm going to go for Mohamed Salah to finish top scorer.
It's interesting. No, I really can't see past Sterling Haaland. I just think he's just insane. Some of the stats, his goals for August, since being in the Premier League, he has almost 2 goals a game in games that have been Premier League matches that have been played in August, which was a ridiculous stat I've seen. I think Salah definitely deserves a respect of a mention because of what he's done, but I just think with the amount of talent they've got up top, I think the goals will need to be shared about. And then Cole Palmer, strangely, hasn't scored a Premier League non-penalty goal since January, which I think is a crazy stat. But yeah, Erling Haaland,
Club,
favourite for me.
the Club World Cup, I think, showed he's back to
Yeah,
his.
but he was poor at the weekend though. So yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, impact signing. Who do you think's going to be the best signing? The best new player in the Premier League this season.
new player in the Premier League.
Yeah, like impact signing.
It can't be from like someone signed from another Premier League club.
No, no, sorry. Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. It can be Alexander Isak if that's what you're going to say.
No, I was actually going to say Mateus Cunha.
Yeah,
I I think he's going to ball out. He looks like a natural 10. Um, and he looked really good on Sunday.
fair enough. That's a fair shout to make.
Also, I'm leaning a wee bit towards Tiani Reinders as well. He looks class.
Yeah, he did look very good on his debut. I'm trying to think of this because there's a lot of candidates. I'm looking at Liverpool, I'm looking at Man City.
Is there a flop?
Mm,
Is there a flop category coming
we
up?
can add one in. I'm going to go. For Liverpool, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Florian Wirtz or Wirtz. You have him as your flop, don't you? I knew as soon as
Not
you said that
including.
you were gonna put him down as your flop.
If we got
No,
to,
I think he'll come
if we
good
got
for
to the
Liverpool.
flop category, I'm gonna go with Florian Wirtz.
Well, I'm gonna go for.
I think he's gonna be rubbish.
I'm gonna go for.
Kai Havertz 2.0.
I don't think so. I am gonna go for. Let me think. Who am I gonna go for? It's an interesting one. I am going to go for. I really don't know who I'm going to go for actually. I'm going to go for Victor Gyökeres after what I've seen from the first game. Thought it would work for him. I would have liked it to work for him as a player coming from outside the top five leagues, and a lot of people were making a big deal about that. Not the fact that he won the Golden Boot while playing in the Portuguese league, which is well, already got close to it anyway, which is a ridiculous achievement. But yeah, I just don't think he'll maybe work at Arsenal as well as what Mikel Arteta and the Gunners, as they're called, will look for. What about a sort of player to watch, a player that maybe didn't do too well last season? You think, or maybe someone that did do well last season, but you think will come on even more this season? Anyone in particular that comes to mind?
Hmm. Player to watch. I'm gonna go with Wilson Isidore from Sunderland. I think he's going to get have a surprisingly good season. And I'm going to call right now at least 10 goals for him in the Premier League.
Oh, that would be massive. That'd be massive for a promoted side striker. My one is this isn't just because he's in my FPL team. Pat Matassar, I think, is going to have an excellent season with Spurs. I think Thomas Frank really likes him, and I think he'll show all of his qualities to an even greater extent than he did in his opening 10 games when Spurs were actually good under Ange Postecoglou. So yeah, Pat
Yeah.
Matassar. Um, Manager to watch. So yeah, a sort of manager that you think's going to really earn their stripes this season in the Premier League.
I'm going to build on. No, I might. Well, it kind of contradicts my Premier League predictions, but I'm going to build on what you said. I'm going to say Thomas Frank. I think they'll finish seventh, but I think that area will be really tight. I think Spurs will have a good season, and they might surprise a few people in the Champions League.
I'm going to go with Ruben Amorim. I think, as I said, I think Man United will really grow this season.
All right, cool. Is that for the categories?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. That will do it for today's episode of The Dugout. Make sure to go check out the Twitter at The Dugout 2024. Go check out the TikTok at The Dugout. Check out the Spotify, The Dugout Podcast. That's if you don't want to see our stupid faces when you're listening to our stupid voices and stupid takes. But yeah, thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Goodbye.